Hey people, it's Nice talking. This is from CNN, led by a 105-year-old survivor. Lawsuit seeks reparations in 1921 Tulsa race massacre. A 105-year-old survivor of the 1921 race massacre in Tulsa, Oklahoma, is the lead figure in a lawsuit that demands reparations for damages it says has continued since the destruction of the city's black business district. Leslie Bennyfield Mother Randall was a little girl when an angry white mob rampaged through the city's Greenwood district, known as Black Wall Street because it was home to more than 300 black-owned businesses. By the end of the night, on June 1st, 1921, the 35 city block district was burned to the ground. Contemporary reports of deaths began at 36, but historians now believe as many as 300 people died, according to the Tulsa Historical Society Museum. The lawsuit was filed yesterday, Tuesday, in Tulsa County District Court by Justice for Greenwood Advocates, a team of civil and human rights lawyers. The plaintiffs include Vernon AME Church, the only black-owned building to survive the massacre, descendants of other victims, and the Tulsa African and Central Society. The lawsuit claims that racial and economic disparities caused by the massacre created a public nuisance and an economic blight that remains. It says local government and agencies failed to help the neighborhood rebuild. Greenwood and North Tulsa community residents continue to face racially disparate treatment, and city-created barriers to basic human needs, including jobs, financial security, education, housing, justice, and health, it says. Among the defendants, the City of Tulsa, the Tulsa Regional Chamber, and the Tulsa County Board of Commissioners said they would not comment on pending litigation. The Tulsa County Sheriff, Tulsa Development Authority, and Tulsa Metropolitan Area Planning Commission, also named in the suit, did not respond to requests for comments. The state of Oklahoma used the public nuisance law to win a $572 million lawsuit against drug maker Johnson & Johnson last year for its role in the state's opioid crisis. According to the lawsuit, the mob looted and destroyed Randall's grandmother's home, causing her emotional and physical distress that continues to this day. She experienced the flashbacks of black bodies that were stacked up on streets as the neighborhood was burning, causing her to constantly relive the terror of May 31st and June 1st, 1921. The lawsuit said, Randall is one of the last survivors of the massacre, which occurred after a 19-year-old black man, Dick Rowland, was accused of assaulting a 17-year-old white girl named Sarah Page in the elevator of a Tulsa building. Charges against Rowland were later dismissed, according to the Tulsa Historical Society, under a false allegation. Attorney Demario Solomon Simmons told CNN that Randall is in poor health, but was upbeat and encouraged when she heard about the lawsuit. The plaintiffs contend that members of the Tulsa Police Department, the Tulsa County Sheriff's Department, and the Oklahoma National Guard participated in the mob. It said the National Guard provided tactical and logistical support to the mob. The Oklahoma National Guard, in a statement, defended its actions at the time. Of course they would. They just like the Cleveland police said that the guy who killed Tamir Rice did nothing wrong. They've never changed. The historical record shows that a handful of guardsmen protected the Tulsa armory and the weapons inside from more than 300 rioters. The actions of these guardsmen substantially reduced the number of deaths in the Greenwood district. Actually, there are reports that the planes had dropped dynamite on the area. So someone from the military and National Guards had to be involved in this, either if someone went rogue or someone gave permission, but somebody was involved. In the days following the riots, Oklahoma guardsmen restored order to the area and prevented further attacks by both black and white Tulsans. The lawsuit says that Greenwood residents suffered $50 million to $100 million in property damage for the massacre, and says that policies implemented in the following decades led to the decline of Greenwood and North Tulsa and increased inequality. It does not ask for a specific dollar amount of reparation, but calls for victims to be compensated for their lost property, and the money should have gone to the community since 1921. It also calls for the creation of a victim compensation fund, mental health and education programs for residents of Greenwood and North Tulsa, and a college fund for descendants of massacre victims. It seeks construction of a hospital in the community and asks the black residents of the Greenwood and North Tulsa communities to have prior consideration for city contracts. Miss Randall has been hurt in all the years by what happened in Tulsa. It's been a huge burden on her, and she believes it's about time for the city to pay what's owed. Solomon Simmons said, Miss Randall wants respect, restoration, and repair from the city of Tulsa. Well, I hope that they get it, and I hope that the city of Tulsa is completely, and the state of Oklahoma is completely bankrupted paying this, because it's exactly what they deserve. I don't care how long ago it happened. This needs to happen. And this is another thing. A lot of people, when they say reparations, they'll say, well, slavery was a long time ago. The fact that reparations to the existing people was denied does not mean that the claim goes away. You know, it's like saying, well, we never managed to catch the people who were responsible for 9/11, therefore there should be no investigation, no one should be held responsible for it. That's stupid. And even to this day, Israel is trying to get people who are responsible for the Holocaust, even if they're almost at death's door, and bring them to Israel for trial. They are still trying to get damages for people who have died and give them to their descendants. They do not accept the idea that, oh, the original victims are dead. That is not something that flies with them, and it should not fly with black people. Anyway, and like I said, and people want to say with slavery, well, that as if time just stopped. Slavery ended and black people had everything great and nothing bad ever happened. No, there are so many bad things that have happened, even within living memory. Stuff like the Homestead Act. That gave land to white people and denied it mostly to black people. And people say, well, that was a long time ago. Actually, the last land parcel was given in 1988. And then there's stuff like redlining, where the federal government gave white people loans to buy houses and denied it to black people. That's why a lot of these ghettos exist, because it forcefully and legally made it that only a certain group of people could live in one area, and that area became poor and ghettoized. And the policy officially ended in 1968, officially, but nothing was ever done. They just said, well, I'm sorry, what are you gonna do? And that was 52 years ago. A lot of people are still alive from when that happened, and people are still suffering from its effects. There are many, many, many things that have happened that have never been compensated, like the war on drugs. There is proof that Nixon planned the war on drugs to target black people, to stop the civil rights movement, and to shut it down. Nothing has ever been done. But I'm going on a bit. But let's hope they get justice. Please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. If you want to support this channel, leave my GoFundMe description. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'll leave that there as well. Peace.